this. So on January 19th, Prabhupada boarded a plane for his first time he ever flew, and flew to San Francisco and a Mantra Rock concert. In my book I have a photo of that poster. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Mantra Rock concert, and then the bands were Grateful Dead, Moby Grape, and Big Brother and the Holy Company with Janis Joplin. She was their lead singer. And the rest is history. From there, Prabhupada went to Montreal, then Seattle, then Los Angeles. And by the summer of 1967, they had their first Rath Yatra. But then Prabhupada got really sick. And he had to go back to India. 2 devotees came with him. One was Achyutananda and the other was Ramanuja. So he flew back to India to recuperate his health. Went to Vrindavan, stayed at the Radha Damodar Mandir. Right? Now, Dr. Kapoor, meanwhile, after Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur left the planet in 1936-37, it was right on that midnight area, December 31st, January 1st, right on that time. He got involved, he was dragged into litigation because both sides were trying to say who the next Acharya was. So he said it was really not very nice. And he got a post at Agra University, so he left the Mat, became a professor at Agra University, and never saw any of his godbrothers for 30 years. Now he had no connection with Gaudiya Math. Confirmed. Now he's getting a little older, so he's thinking, about his retirement place. So he's thinking, I should get a retirement place in Vrindavan. So he went and got a retirement place in Vrindavan. And during the summers, when he wasn't teaching, he'd have time off, and during the weekends, he'd be there. So one summer's evening, late summer, he wants to go for the evening arti at Radha Damodar temple. So he walks into the courtyard, and as he's walking in, a sannyasi comes out with 2 Americans wearing dhotis. So he looks at the sannyasi, and the sannyasi looks at him, and they both stop, and they both look at each other for the longest time. And he was thinking, he looks familiar. He said, I couldn't recognize him after all those years. But then I ventured to guess, oh, hi. And Prabhupada said, I'm Kesava. And like they even praised, it was like a tremendous reunion. He said, what a reunion. So then he was on his way to do a program. So he sent them on. He said, you guys, go and do it yourself. He stayed back, and he took his godbrother into his rooms, and he told him everything that happened, how he got to the West. He had cuttings from the newspaper, photos, clippings, everything to show him, told him the whole thing. And it was like really ecstatic. So Prabhupada was in Vrindavan for like September, October, November, December, 4 months, recuperating, and then he went back to America, landed in San Francisco. And that's when the movement really took off. Next time he went back was 1970, with 40 devotees from America and Europe. And he called it the World Sankirtan Party. But a couple of interesting things happened. In 1968, I told this story recently, I don't know if most of you have not heard it. So he was on a morning walk around the lake in Golden Gate Park. And one of the new devotees, Bhakta Tom, who later became Tamal Krishna Maharaj, he asked him a question. He said, Swamiji, at that time he didn't have the name Prabhupada, how many pure devotees are there on this planet, on planet Earth? How many pure devotees? So Prabhupada turned to Aniruddha, who had been in the movement for a year. He said, Aniruddha, how many centers do we have now? So Aniruddha said, well, we got San Francisco, New York, and Montreal. Well, 75 devotees in those 3 centers. So Prabhupada turned to Mahakrishna and said, there are 75 pure devotees. And he explained that one who renders service, but unmotivated service, he can be counted as a pure devotee. May not be the topmost pure devotee, not Uttama Adhikari pure devotee, not Madhyama Adhikari pure devotee, but Kanishta, first stage of pure devotee. But because he's performing unmotivated service. Unmotivated means that it's simply to please Krishna. I don't have any motivation, any agenda, anything for my benefit, just to please Krishna. So Prabhupada considered all his sincere disciples to also be pure devotees, but not at his level, obviously. And he explained, we're not Mayavadis. It's not that it's all one. There are variations and gradations in everything, in every facet of spiritual life. Then, now we're going to fast forward a little. Well, yeah, so he wanted to have this World Sankirtan party. He wrote about it. He wrote many letters about it. And what he wanted was that people would go. He had a kirtan party. He described, he wanted so many tumadangas, so many cartel players, harmonium, couple of, some singers. And they would do concerts, they do performances from place to place, city to city. And whatever funds they collected, that would fund them going to the next place. And this way they'd travel around the world. And he asked several devotees to get it together, but they never could. So then Prabhupada finally got it together and took everybody to India. And it was a sensation. No Swami had ever gone to the West and come back with like 50 devotees, all wearing tilak, dhotis, saris, and chanting and dancing in ecstasy. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So everywhere they were having big programs, huge programs. And he got invited everywhere. Then he was thinking we should have deities. So he arranged for deities to be made. And then when he was up in a town called Gorakhpur, where he was invited by Hanuman Prasad Pudar, who was a famous person who had a press called Gita Press, and he had published all the Vaishnava Shastras. And then when they were there in Gorakhpur, those deities arrived in a crate. They said, Prabhupada. They came. Prabhupada said, get a nice table. They would have the evening programs in a room like this. Prabhupada said, you get a nice table, put a nice cloth on it, and then set the deities up there. And that evening, Prabhupada came, took darshan of the deities. And then he sang a song. You want me to sing the song that he sang? Okay. He sang that song regularly. Every time he came in and saw those deities, he would sing this song.